One of the major secrets to the success that I have experienced in life can be found in the mentors that I was blessed to have. Since my formative years, as a young guy, even as a teenager, and today, you get to meet one of them. This is the Joe Abass Show. We're partnering with you to unleash your life, your business, and your career. And I'm Joe Abass Bangura. Stay with us. Just to remind you that the Joe Abass Show is coming to you by courtesy of Life by Design and partners. AfriCell, RC Bank, AYV Media Empire, Chicken Town, Sweet You Life, Sweet You Mott, Inky Media, and the channel to which you are listening to this or watching this show on. In today's show, we're looking at the power of mentorship and the making of the Joe Abass brand. Of course, we all know that Joe Abass Bangura is not just a name, it's a brand. And what was the journey about the brand about? Sir Isaac Newton is quoted to have said, if I have seen further, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And Galileo, this famous scientist, said, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help them discover what is within themselves. And both of these quotes that I've just shared are correct about the guest on my show today. He's one of my earliest mentors in life. His name is Santigie Koroma. We call him Bossman. Bossman, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Yes, I got to meet Santigi and his fiancée, his then fiancée, around 1985. I was 18 years of age. Would
That's
you believe
correct.
that?
Yes.
At the National Pentecostal Church, Wellington, where Santigi was social secretary and music director for the youth group there. He ended up becoming a great mentor to me. I actually moved into the house where he stayed, and became a member of his own family. Yes. Interestingly, I didn't have to change my surname to Koroma.
No.
and some of you viewers must have been tired of hearing me share my famous transition story about how, after I failed my failed attempts at the O-levels and my high school exams at the Albert Academy in 1984 and the Sierra Leone Muslim Congress in 1985, and dropping out of school, I was encouraged subsequently to take the exams again in 1989, 4 years after the Albert Academy. The big challenge was meeting the cost of the exam fees, which was 1,000 euros. And at that point in time, it was quite a lot of money, I assure you. And my parents had resigned from all academic expenses to focus on providing food, shelter, clothing. That was their commitment. Anything other than that was luxury. You had to fend for yourself. So I approached Bossman with this need, and he willingly paid my fees. He willingly paid my fees. Yes. to retake my O-levels exams. Yes. And this time at the Government Independent Secondary School at Kisii. I took and passed this exam. And this opened the door for me to fight back into life to get to where I am today. Like they still normally say, the rest is history. It wasn't a straightforward journey. To help us rehash this story in the making of Joe Abass, in the eyes of an eyewitness to this journey, Santigie Koroma, aka Bossman. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's start this from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Now, we've done a couple of reflections over this, the last couple of days that you've been here. You're in town, yes. Visiting us. Now, what made you bring me into your home?
Indeed, it was a full house, but your zeal was just like extraordinary. And like, I can't resist you. You coming with a kind of a motive that I saw in you, that I thought, yes, one day, this young man is going to be a successful man. Mm-hmm. So I can't stand that. I said, you know what, I have to bring him in and see what happens. So whatever the case, I said, let me bring him in and see how we go to do things about.
How were you able to know? How were you able to know somebody that comes around you just because of waiting and get, but somebody comes around because they want to add value, they want to contribute? Because
the way you are reacting to things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have that spontaneous reaction to things that sometimes I can't even understand how you do it, mm-hmm. but then that motivated me to just like bring you in. Mm-hmm. See, this man is somebody else that, I'm seeing, and one day is going to be somebody.
That's a question I've kept for you in the end. It's easy to say, after the fact that I knew it was going to be somebody. Now, how did you know really, Bossman? Did you know really at that point in time that there's something unique here, and this young man could turn out to be somebody unique in life? Did you know? Is it?
When you mentioned a short while ago, like the time about this fellowship, right? So
in the church.
In the church, exactly. And what normally you do when we go for practices, you know, you're insistent on certain things. I mean, you keep putting pressure. You never let down. You know, that's a type of behavior sometimes. When somebody has it, you will see the success in that person's life in the future. So your insistence, you know, in doing certain things, sometimes, yeah, it's a motivation.
And so it's interesting for them to know it's not just something that started today, but this is something that's always there. I'm restless.
Yes.
I'm restless.
Yes.
Always want to develop, always want to move on,
Right.
always want to progress things.
Right.
And I think one thing you mentioned that I think I want to be able to share in building mentorship, it's been said that a lot of the time people just want what you've earned.
Yes.
They want what is in your pocket. That's not mentorship. That's been parasitic. You're a parasite.
Right.
But the real mentees, they want what is in your head. They want what you know. And when they come, they bring value and exchange to say, okay, how can I add value here so that I can get value in return? And I think that's one of the points you've just mentioned. You said you saw. But let's go back. You saw all the good and the bad and the ugly in me. You saw the good and the bad, and you were able to, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you were able to manage all three.
Right.
Now, let's review some of these compartments. Let's start with the good. Gospel music. Let's talk about the choir.
Okay.
Tell me what you remember about Steps to Christ Youth Singers.
I was in charge of the group. I was the leader. But you always overshadow me. So points where I say, you know what, let me just let it go.
Right.
So then I'll just sit back and enjoy you doing your thing, you know. And like, you know, if you remember those days though, the singers, they were not very happy about that for some of them, you know, because they don't want me to lead. And you're like one of them, now you're coming out the front and are trying to dictate things.
The music and
exactly.
training them to do the
Exactly.
music and the stage, synchronized stage movement.
Exactly, yeah.
Getting them to smile.
Correct. So like you're trying to impose yourself, you know, to do these things, you know, so that they can do it the right way, the way it's supposed to be done. You know, and I would just sit back there and just watch, you know, the movie.
I say it's movie.
It was a movie.
You're watching the movie. Now,
was a movie.
so the first thing that was noticed, even at those early ages, was there were a lot of skills there. Now, let's talk about the innovation and an adventure. Let's talk about innovation. Obviously, the innovation comes with music and new ideas. Every day we could come to practices and stuff. But let's talk about the never shy of taking risks. Always coming up with new ideas. What could you remember or that?
Well, you always come up with certain things. Like I was the leader, right? But then you come up with suggestions. Oh, Bossman, how about doing this? How about doing that? How about doing that? You know, you come up with suggestions. You know, I put it in my head for a few seconds. Then I always don't stop you. I say, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And I think those are one of the successes that we are able to, you know, achieve.
Innovation, persistence, okay, perfectionist, persistence, and relentless.
Right.
To the extent of being annoying, and I'm quoting
Oh,
it.
no, forget about that.
Persistent,
That one is something else.
perfectionist, persistent,
Right.
and relentless to the extent of being annoying.
Right.
Talk about that.
Now, the persistence, right? If we will practice into songs, singing, to me, as far as I'm concerned as a leader, everything is fine. It's perfect. On our own side, it's not. It bothers me sometimes. And also even the singers too, it bothers them. You know, like, you know, I'm saying that everything is going right, but then you kind of, no, it's not yet perfect. Because you are the perfectionist. I mean, you have something in here that you are thinking, I want it this way. I want it to be done this way. If it's not done this way, then no, we're not going anywhere. So even if the time is going, like, you know, like...
It's 9:30, we should be closing the practice.
So that, you know, people will be, you know, like they want to go home. No, that's the time you will start. That's the time you will start. You know, like nothing has been done. You know, those things.
And this is,
that's bringing the annoyance in. So like the other members, you know, they'll become annoyed, you know, things like that. And say, Brother Santos, look what is going on there. I say, can we just do what he's telling you to do?
now, it's a tough one. If we could just move back again, because there's this sort of stuff about synchronized movement. I've talked about synchronized movement in the stage. Smile when you're singing.
Exactly, yes.
And those were all stuff, because as a communicator, even at that age, I discovered there's no way you could talk about being happy and your face does not show you're happy. And there's no way you could be on the stage and you say you are a choir, you are a group, and not have synchronized movements, synchronized actions. If we're shouting, can we all just demonstrate that we're shouting and we're happy, and all of those things would go like that. So that's part of what you say is perfectionist. And of course, the positive bit of all of those things was that Steps to Christ became a very outstanding group.
Yes.
Even though we were long ways away from 4th Street and Congo Cross and the church at Forobe, but we will still punch above our weight because of those things. Now, you also, and I think Yebu, your wife, fiancé then, Yebu is going to be share a bit of her thoughts here. She actually said there was ambition there. And you always saw that I was ambitious and focused. Talk about ambitious. My ambitiousness and my ambition at those very early age and being focused.
Well, like, you see, when you engage somebody, you make sure the person remains focused. And like, if you engage somebody, that the person will concentrate on you. In other words, if you want to say something, right, you want the person to listen to you and actually put into action what you're trying to tell the person. And that's what the ambition, because you're pushing. It's like my fiancée then, right? Yebo, she's quiet. She's not, but then you come in and just like, there's a way you do it, very jovial, just like, so like, not pushing, you're not pushing, just like, you tie somebody into the fold so that somebody can be into your game, things like that.
What are the things that you think went into making Joe Abass the Joe Abass you knew when I was 18 years of age, 19, 20 years of age? What are the things that went into this journey and this relationship that got you to help me and brought me into your family, just like one of yours? Let's talk about the laundry and the cleaning of the house. Yeah,
I was going to mention that. Well, those are things that we are doing that I was not even expecting you to do that, But I mean, it's just out of an instinct. Like, you're in somebody's house and this person is helping you. It's just like started doing those things. And it was amazing. I was not even thinking about it. It was overwhelming. Saying, oh, why is he doing that? But that time. You know very well that I have so many people that can do that.
Yeah, there were a lot of other people that could do that.
So many of them that can, come in and do all those things, the laundry, things like the cleaning of the house. But you just can't sit back. You always want to go ahead and do it. You're ahead of your game, make sure that things are in order. Maybe time to please the Bossman.
Time to please the Bossman. But look at, so what was happening was that, remember, I was just called into this house. They are all the members of the family. Right. And who knows, at some point in time, they will look at you, okay, this boy, I enjoy no more, come for Kanjo. So I come out. It's not even one of us. And now because it's sweet, na sugar then na sugar and so you never know what goes into people's mind. Right. So to be there in packaging myself to be able to make sure I could give value back in return is to say, okay, I took care of your clothing, and ironed, did the laundry, ironed all of them, and every weekend making sure those were there. And you had the motorbike.
Yes.
Suzuki motorbike.
Yes.
NB2195.
You still remember that?
Even Cobra, when Cobra came, Cobra was NB21956.
Yes.
956.
Yes.
Because it was 5 digits at that point.
That's correct. Yes.
I could still remember all of those. And cleaning the house. It was cement tiles, cleaning and scrubbing from the back veranda, so the front, including the toilet and everything, was things I did diligently. And you recalled some of those things in terms of what went into making this guy sitting before you here today. That's been a phenomenon to the nation.
Yes.
And in case you've just joined us, this is the JAB show, and my guest today is one of my earliest mentors, Santigie Koroma. We've talked about the good. When we come back, we will talk about the bad and the ugly, and the power of mentorship and the making of the JAB brand. Stay with us.